1,200 subscribers and 200 videos. Hooray! I should celebrate this momentous occasion with something really outrageous. I should learn how to use Adobe Photoshop, and plaster my lips all over a bunch of cats on like a 1.5-minute long video. Or I could pay for a company to put to hang a huge box of fireworks on top of a crane. You know, but then I'd be broke forever. I could review a planetformer. You know, it's not like I don't have one. I actually have 2 planetformers. Well, I could, but you know. Now that I think about it, I don't think I did. Yeah, that was before I did unboxings. Don't worry about it. Like I said, something outrageous. 200 videos. You know, I've got over 1,200 subscribers, and yet my videos, on average, only. I mean, it's not that there aren't videos I've made that have gone into the thousands of views, but vast majority of my videos are like 300, maybe 400 views. Like, what's going on? The other 1,700 of you forget that I was here. You subscribed and then forgot I was here. You know? Are you even watching this video? Like, if it says unboxing, you just it's another 1.5-hour video. Disregard. Do you guys do that? Let me know. Is there something you want me to do on this channel? You know, I could take a shot. I'm looking to kind of change up my schedule. Besides, I've got 3 weeks all to myself in the house. My parents left on a train trip yesterday. They're touring the South and Mid-United States. So I actually have been on a train before. It was in 1994. I was 12, 13 at the time. That was pretty fun. You know, went to California, went to Florida, Washington, D.C. for about, a 2-hour layover. So I get to claim I've been to Washington, D.C., and I got to walk over to the U.S. Capitol, but I didn't, or the U.S. Capitol building. I just didn't get to do anything beyond that, so I don't even remember it, so don't ask me. I mean, dude, that was like 4 presidents ago, so 3 presidents? 4. Indiana, Louisiana, before Hurricane Katrina, by the way. I don't remember. I went through New Orleans when it was nighttime. I don't remember New Orleans. What's the stadium they have? It's the Superdome? Or no. That's the one in Tacoma. No, that's the Tacoma Dome. Is it the Superdome that's in New Orleans? I can't remember. Anyways, I got to see that at nighttime. Ooh, fucking do. Whatever. Yeah, so like, you know, it may be more expensive, but compared to air travel, trains are luxurious. You actually have leg room. You can get up and stretch. You don't have to worry about falling, you know, 15,000 feet, or is it 25,000, falling from 25,000 feet. You know, what happens if an engine goes out? What happens if, oh, this is going to sound racist of me, but, Allahu Akbar, however that's said, you know, you don't have to worry about that. No one gives a shit about trains. Yes, it is more expensive, and yes, it does take longer. As a matter of fact, I just got a text from my mom. They're just now crossing through, like, the eastern side of Montana right now. So it took them a day to go from Seattle to, you know, eastern Montana. So, you know, whatever. They're on the way to Illinois. So they'll be, I think they're arriving tomorrow, maybe. I'm not certain. I don't have the itinerary in front of me. But yeah, I totally want to ride a train again. That's cool. 200 videos. I don't know what to do. I could just do an unboxing, but there's so much to unbox. Oh my god, people. I actually got this 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, thereabouts. Got it in the mail. Didn't get it in person. This is cool. I like this. It's a little Spartan when it comes to decorations and features, but what is there is pretty good. I considered doing an unboxing of it, but it's Lego. I actually did try doing some Let's Builds with Lego, but I never received positive or negative comments on it, so it's like, yeah, what's the point? Don't bother. The wingspan on this thing is freaking huge when you get it out to full size. For those of you who have not seen Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, spoiler alert. The wingspan on this is very impressive. It's very impressive. The wingspan down here is actually higher than, you know, from here to here. So it's pretty crazy. This thing, the tail, or not vertical stabilizers, but like whatever they call wings in the Star Wars universe, I don't know. Is a pain in the ass to put together. There's a lot of little pieces that just, oh god, just keep it away from me, please. But it's not bad. I mean, the bottom of the wings they don't look very accurate. They don't look like that at all. But when you put it down, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's pretty freaking huge. It's got some nice heft to it, so whatever. They even got the I want to say impulse engines, which is totally wrong. The ion engines. I think those are ion engines. I'm not sure. So they got that detail, which is nice. I actually like that part. The engines are slanted. They're not horizontal or vertical. They're diagonal, which is nice. This makes the 5th Star Wars Lego shuttle that I've gotten that has foldable wings on it. 5 of these things. And that's just shuttles. I've got the 98 or 99 shuttle Tidarium. I've got, when the special editions came out, they introduced a new Tidarium-inspired shuttle that had, the wings were way in back, and then it had a huge fin on the front. It's a cargo shuttle, so I've got one of those from, like I said, the late 90s. I've got the Phantom from Star Wars Rebels, but I don't think that counts. I've got the shuttle that was seen at the end of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the one that Palpatine uses to ferry Darth Vader off to Coruscant, so I've got that. There's an interesting story behind that one. I've also got the Clone Wars Jedi shuttle, which that was disappointing. That was really disappointing, especially the details on the wings, which are totally inaccurate to what you see. That was a disappointing kit. It's not a bad kit. It's not like it was built badly. Just it barely looks and functions anything at all like what you saw on the show. So, yeah. And then I've got an X-wing fighter. I've got an ARC-170 starfighter, heavy starfighter. I've got a B-wing fighter, the second version, not the first one. I've got the V-19 Torrent from Clone Wars. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and then I've got a bounty hunter ship of some kind from Clone Wars TV series. So I've got one of those. And then now I've got this. So yay. The main feature. By the way, these are spring launchers right here. I've stored them away because the spring launchers that Lego uses nowadays, these things are fucking scary. And you've heard me say that before. So, non-functional blasters. But the main function of this, we have Director Krennic, again, spoiler alert for the movie, in his only minifig appearance. We've got these panels that open outward. Everything here is friction. There's no ratcheting. One thing I like about Krennic's, his pilot's chair. I mean, what else? I mean, that's where the pilot sits, but they put Krennic there, so whatever. I like it has armrests and a headrest in white, so it's like a plush cushioned, except it's made out of Lego pieces. That's pretty sweet. Got some, are these called Death Troopers, I think? We've got a couple of Death Troopers, one on either side. There's another pair of seats back here, one on the other side, but when this thing closes up, it doesn't leave any room for the minifigs, so these chairs are kind of permanently empty, which is frustrating. Now, you didn't really see any detail of the interior, we saw the interior, but not enough to give us good judgment on what was in there. So, for kids, you're not really going to get anything out of this set, just because, well, what the heck are you looking at on the inside? And the panels themselves don't have any detail either. So, I mean, it exists. So, little kids probably won't get a lot out of it, and yes, it is actually, it's kind of frustrating to put everything together. But, hey, it comes with 6 minifigs, including K2SO, some random Rebel alien, and Bodhi, Pilot Bodhi. You got his minifig. It even comes with a little cable backpack from, what was the planet? I can't think of the planet they assaulted at the movie, at the end of the movie. So, yes, pretty nice. It's pretty much the only thing I'm gonna get from Rogue One. All fits together into a nice and tidy package. It's a little fragile. It's a little flimsy, just a little, compared to other Lego Star Wars. But in terms of a minifig scaled set, like, this is not collector size, it's not collector scale. It's minifig. It's specifically designed for minifigs. For a minifig scaled set, this is not a bad package. I do like this. This is neat. I like this. These do not fire. That's what they got little. Like I said, they got the missile launchers down here, but technically this and this are the blasters they use. So, yay, I've got the, oh yeah, and the bottom is a thing. Oh, the other thing I forgot. Technically, it has a boarding ramp, but technically there's not enough height clearance for a minifig to actually stick in there. So it's like, it's for display purposes only, but you can't even display a minifig on the inside. So it's Spartan, and it's a little strange, but it's kind of gorgeous at the same time too. So, nice. Now I take it back. I would like to get the TIE Striker. That's kind of a neat one. Yay, video over. See you later. No. Gosh, I've actually been accumulating a couple of things. There was, I got this 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. A little over a month ago I got this. I still haven't opened it. Never mind the fact that I've been wanting this item for over 20 years. In fact, I actually mentioned this in a previous video. Well, kind of. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Alright, great transition, Abbott. Fantastic transition. This was the thing that I censored so heavily in the, was it the Beetle Battle Base video? This is what I censored. I still don't know how to blur out just a small image on the screen, so I'm still working on that. This is the thing that took 3.5 hours to unbox. Actually, I never finished the video. It took 3.5 hours just to take the VF2SS out of its package just by itself and transform it into the different modes. I didn't even start talking about the SAP on the back. It's really long and complicated. Oh my God, I've wanted this for so many years, and actually a growing number of people have wanted this for a number of years. I loved it before it was popular to love it, I'll point out. It's incredibly flimsy, very, 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 very flimsy. I think that, wow, they've got dust in here. I think they could have, I think it's Evolution Toys that designed this. They stuck their foot out, or they stuck their hand out and said, we'll make it, when nobody else would make it. Like Arcadia wouldn't make it, nobody would make it. And so they said, we'll do it. But as I understand it, Evolution Toys is kind of an offshoot of another collector manufacturer, and so they kind of brought some of the stupid along with them. The way they engineered the legs to transform was bizarre and is nothing at all like how it actually does transform. What else? Oh, one of the landing gear fell apart. I've actually got the wheels over there, because the wheels were just glued together on the inside, and so it popped off as soon as I traded. So that was disappointing. Trying to get the front of the torso and the back of the torso to snap together, oh my god, is damn near impossible. And it's actually under pressure right now. I just get this feeling like there's stress marks in there or something that I just can't see because it's molded in white, so I can't see the stress marks. The V tails, well, they transform in the right way. They slide forward and back, and then they swing around like this. They're supposed to do that. But when you put it into Batroid mode like this, and then you attach the sap, they've got the wings attached to these little ball joints that are, smaller than a fingernail. I mean, why? You don't even need them to fold like that. So there was some very questionable engineering that happens in here. The backpack itself is also flimsy as hell. Very flimsy. And, oops, they don't even, like, it looks like it should, though in my opinion the wings are a little stubby. I'm not sure. But they kind of did some questionable things. Like, for example, the head is supposed to be completely covered by this flip-over backpack. Like, yes, it does do that, but this arm is not supposed to be there, and this arm would not be here if they hadn't engineered the V-fins, which are behind it, the white panels there. If they hadn't re-engineered those V-fins, they wouldn't have needed to make this big turquoise arm that goes over the top. Why'd you do that? Why'd you even bother? Actually, it's been sitting like this on my desk for... How long have I had this? I think I've had this since February or March, something like that. So... And yeah, I actually wanted to get the one with the red stripe on it, but they didn't sell it with the sap, and the sap was actually not being sold separately anymore, so it's like, well, you better get it like this while you can. So technically this is an Ace Pilot's custom version. Really, it's just a repaint. All the customs, they all look exactly the same except for the colors. So certainly nothing new to Macross. So yeah, I've got this, and like, this is bittersweet as far as I'm concerned. Like, thank God I finally got this. This is 1/60 scale, by the way. Thank God I got it. Thank God I have it. But God damn it, it's frustrating as hell in a couple of places, and I really, really hate it as a result. So, yeah. Now the reason I bring this up is because this is actually the predecessor to this. Not only in when it was manufactured, but also when it was created and originally released in Japan. So, I got this, but I haven't opened it yet. I'm weird that way. Should I even release the unboxing video that I did for this? Again, keep in mind, 3.5 hours. Even edited. I actually did edit, and it's about like 3 hours and like 5 minutes or something like that. It's stupid, That's as much editing as I could possibly get without huge gaps in what's going on, Consistency, continuity. So yeah, I could, so for the 200th video, I could unbox this. Or I could, that store, that buy, sell, trade store that I found last year before, was Bobacon. It's where I got the Beetle Battle Base. I got that there. I got the MSIA Sazabi, the mega size Sazabi from Japan. Holy shit. I got that from them. I've picked up a couple of things over the last 2 years or whatever it is from them. I just visited there yesterday, shortly after dropping off my parents. Or I gotta unbox these, which I can't, these are both MISB, by the way, both of them. Actually, no, this was opened, but Tigerhawk and Inferno. Oh my God, people, what even? His gun doesn't look quite the same, but that's okay. He doesn't stand up well in vehicle, in animal mode, beast mode, I'm sorry. He doesn't stand up in beast mode very well. That a lot of people complain about that. And Tigerhawk. Now, they also had Transmetal 2 Megatron. They had him as well. They had one that was in the box, and they had one that was out of the box. But I'm guessing Megatron's going to be around for a little bit longer, and I looked at the way the head is, Megatron's head, his robot mode head, is actually on his butt, on the butt of the dragon mode, and then he's got this giant ponytail that's actually the tail of the dragon. So it's kind of flimsy. Neither one of them came with instructions, so I did have to figure them out as I go. But I actually had a chance to play around with this guy in a different secondhand store one time. I didn't get to do it for very long, because obviously I didn't get it. And I never expected to find one of these MISB. Holy crap. So I could unbox these for the 200th video. Or I could unbox the thing that showed up today, that I ordered 5 days ago. So I've got a couple of choices. Oh. And also probably the only Titans Returns figure I'm ever going to get. I completely missed Combiner Wars, and it makes me sick. Completely missed it. There were so many I wanted. Computron, Superion, Menasor. I wanted a whole bunch of those, and I got none of them. Technically, Metroplex, which came out 3 years ago, is part of Combiner Wars, or Titans Returns. Technically, he's part of that. So, I guess that counts, but yeah, I got this guy. Am I going to unbox him? I'm undecided, but just know he's there. So, I've got a couple of choices here. If this is anything like the VF2SS I just showed you, that's going to take a really long unboxing, and considering the amount of time it's taken me to get to this point, probably not today. I should, but I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm still sore from the reception I got with the VF2SS. Now, granted, that's an inferior product, and this is actually a superior one. I've heard people rave about. They love this thing, and that's why I got it. Thank God they reissued it recently. So it's just kind of down to these. I was actually going to make my mind up on camera, so I genuinely don't know which one to... I feel like I'd have to do separate videos for each of these. Plus, I think the instructions are missing for this, so... And I'd have to be more careful with it because it's already been opened and played around with, so I'd have to be more careful. I think I'll go with this, the one that came today. And I just made that decision. I didn't decide which one I was going to do. So, expect to see these in a future video. I've been looking forward to these since they were announced earlier this year. I gotta say, there's been some good anticipation regarding these. No, this is not a single box with a single product in it. It'd be kind of amazing if it was. I usually don't order stuff this big. I said I wanted these, and I got them. Highway Lake Japan is celebrating their 20th anniversary. I didn't know this, I have no idea what this is. Oh, maybe it's like a hanging item of some kind. Oh. Oh. What is this? I know it's a folder, but it's not. Oh. These are simpler, but easier to understand. Simpler and easier to understand? Let's go with more relevant and more recent. Let's get to it. Saw the latest, was it episode 15? It was the one that featured both KyuRanger and Space Sheriff Gavin. I know nothing about Metal Hero, and certainly nothing about Gavin. But as far as I could tell, it was. But I am still a fan of KyuRanger. As far as I could tell, for only a half-hour cameo, not a bad episode. I could tell they were kind of pushing it with Gavin, like they were injecting some silly to make him a little more modern. If you can call that silliness modern when it comes to Gavin. I don't know, I never saw it. Box a little smaller than I thought. Oh well. I'm suddenly concerned. Oh. Alright. Not how we thought they were going to do it, but alright. This is the first Kyurenoh I've ever had in my hands. The bottom is molded in blue, but it's been painted over. I think. I'm not sure. Or rather it was molded in blue, but it was put into a dark gray outer structure. For some reason it's turned black. That's strange. Why would they do that? I can't think of what this one's called. I don't know the names of all the Kyurenohs yet. Alright. I'm glad that, what's his name? Ryu Commander. I'm glad that they toned him down. They're not focusing on him as much as they were early on. He still has his annoying moments, but it's not as prevalent as they used to be. So, whoa, the sun came out. Oh, God. And Lucky is still using his catchphrase. That's still annoying. It'd be alright if he said it once per episode, but the fact that he screams it every 3 or 4 minutes is the part that's bad. See, there was another Red Ranger that did that recently. Oh, it was, not Shuriken, was it Red Ninja? Aka Ninja? Oh, it was Aka Ninja. From Shuriken Sentai Ninja. He's the one who had a catchphrase of his own. It was like, I'm getting fired up or something like that. It was so forced. Like, just, Toei, please don't make him say that every single episode, please. Oh, okay. Blade is a sparkly PVC. Caca. Caca. They even made up, was it 4 or 5 episodes ago, they even forced us to deal with Lucky I mean, it's not like we don't hear from him every single episode, but then he had a character-specific episode where his luck ran out. And so we got stuck with Yoshalaki for like, you know, he's usually front and center all the time because Red Ranger, but he's not really the leader, even though, you know, he is red and he is, you know, he does have the largest mecha. So technically he's the leader in turn. I mean, it's not like Red Rangers haven't been the leader. There was Time Pink, there was, oh gosh, what was the name? Ninja White. Those were the leaders, but they were not Red Rangers. Technically, Shuriken Red, but I can't think of her name. Was it Kaori? Kaoru? I can't think of her name. She was technically the leader, but then technically so was Takeru. You know, I like the fact that it's sparkly. It's sparkly. I mean, yeah, it's PVC. Yeah, whatever. That does not bother me. But oh my gosh, my hand fits. I actually have a little bit of wiggle room in there. Perfect. Ah! Kind of wedge your fingers in there in order to get them out. Oh, good. I was wondering how that was going to ratchet in place. Good, it ratchets into both positions, and yes, it is PVC as well. It's hollow on either side, but that's okay. So this is a weapon, this is a weapon, this is a weapon. You remember I mentioned with the Karakuri Henge? Whatever it is from Ninja. I mentioned that, you know, I like those multi-part weapons that all the Rangers use at the same time, so this is a really nice thing to have. Correct me if I'm wrong, is this only the third time ever in Super Sentai where all the Rangers, or at least the core Rangers, had a shared weapon? I'm not talking about just a common blaster and a sword that you attach. You know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a multi-purpose weapon like this, where all the Rangers, if they wanted to, could all... Oh, by the way, this is a weapon. The triggers both move at the same time. Like you push down on this one and this one moves. You push down on this one and this one moves. So they're synchronized to each other. Huh. Wasn't expecting that. So this is a weapon. Technically, this is a weapon. This is pretty sad. This is, I think this is Q Rapier, I think. Yeah, or Q's a Rapier. I think it's Q. This is pretty sad, but, I don't know, it'd be difficult for them to have it do anything else. I mean, the fact that they got, was it 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, I think this is, they got 4 swords out of this, out of this whole thing. So, I mean, I think they can be forgiven for this poor little thing. And technically it's supposed to be like an extending blade. You know how, oh gosh, what's her name? Yeah, Chameleon Green. I can't think of her, I can't think of how it's pronounced. But this is her weapon, so... And then this is a weapon. This is a... I don't know, the Q claw, are you supposed to hold it like this? Or like this? Maybe if you look at the box, you'd have your answer. Yeah, it's held like this, so you claw from underneath. Then you've got a crossbow. got an axe, which is nice. Super Sentai are known for their axes. Accents. Oh, you can't turn it sideways. Darn. Oh, it's rectangular. Darn. I was thinking, because, you know, kind of the idea here, you're supposed to be able to kind of put it in however you want, but you can't, or no, you can't put it in this way. Darn. I was hoping I'd be able to do that, but you can't. Oh, there's no battery in it. And if this doesn't have a battery, it's a strong possibility the Kyurenoh doesn't either. Well, I can't do this without electronics. I'm gonna go find me a bat. Wonder if it takes double A's or triple A's. I'll be right back. Triple A's, by the way. Okay, we're loaded and ready. Cute. I hesitate to say that's a loud one. I think when the sound effect crescendos, then it's kind of loud. But I think I can kind of live with it. Kind of. I wonder if this would be anything. Now, if I remember correctly. Oh, now you. Whoa, hello. Why would they tape the instructions together? What? What? What on earth? In the 35 years this show's, or in the 41 years this show's been around, I've never heard of them taping the instructions. Usually that's something that somebody does if they... That's usually somebody tapes it if like the instructions have fallen apart or if they've been accidentally cut, then you tape it. You don't tape it when it's inside the box. Don't hit anybody with it and watch for the pinch points that you totally have to get to. So in other words, in other words, you're forced to put your fingers in here, but it says that this is a potential pinch point. And to be fair, it is a pinch point. Ow. Because these are not very flexible. Now, if I remember correctly... I gotta get used to where these buttons are. So this is Q sword. It's just smaller. This is used by Kajiki Yellow. It's the same sound. Unless that's what that is. By the way, in order to change the sound effects, you simply hold down one of the triggers. Q spear. That would be this. You meant to like throw the Q spear or something? I don't know the order of them, so I have to play it each time because I don't know. Q claw. It's kind of lame for a claw. Nine weapons, 9 different sound effects. Plus you've got the different, you know, the naming of the weapons each time too. Maybe they didn't have enough space. Oh, Q crossbow. Can I just go pew? QX. Jeez. That's impressive. Q-sickle. Q-sickle. Bat, 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 bat. Q-sickle. Oh, I've heard this one before. Oh, this is the sound from the Geki Saber, which was the two-part weapon that was fucking impossible to get apart again, ever. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's over there. Like, the Geki Saber is the two-part. They were meant to have intentionally floppy, not flimsy, but just floppy blades. They're meant to be flexible blades, so you can smack somebody with them better. Anyways, that's the sound that it made when I think when the two halves were put together. Because it goes and then it goes whoop whoop. So KyuRanger. Which is this, which is sad, but what are you gonna do? Not bad. Here's the sad one. Oh, okay, so Q Slasher is the biggest one. Is that right? Let's see what happens if I hold it down. Okay, so if you hold it down, it won't do anything at all. Okay, so this is Q Slasher. This is Red Ranger. So this is the equivalent of the Rekka Daizento from Shinkanger, which I still want to get my hands on. Like, I don't freaking love the thing, the Rekka Daizento, but I still want to get one. It was cool. Okay. I guess it doesn't. Now, it doesn't register, like, there's no button. Like, even though it's got these pinch points on them, it doesn't register what the different components are that it's attached. It just keeps track of when you held down the button and then when you let go. So it's not really a smart toy. It's smart insofar as you can switch modes. It kind of reminds me of the Samurai Mega Blade from Power Rangers Samurai, or Super Samurai if you must. It was pretty much the same thing. Let's see, how did they change? Oh yeah, you pulled the thing on the bottom and then it made a different noise. And that you could pull the trigger as much as you wanted to, but in order to switch the sounds, you had to pull on the thing underneath. Or was it? Yeah, it was on the bottom. So this is pretty much, it's the same technology. Now this does have a sensor on the back, so you recognize when you put a Q-Tana in place. Is this? Yes it is. Does it matter which way it goes? I don't think so. I think it's kind of up to you which way you put it in. Does it go this way? Okay. So you cannot put it in like this. You have to put it in like this. Oh, come on. So you can only do the Galaxy special attack. You can only do the Galaxy special attack once. After that, it just goes back to the usual sound. I think. Yeah, it's the same sound. All right. So what happens when I switch weapon modes with the Kyurenoh attached? So now I'm gonna switch modes while the Kyurenoh is attached to see what happens. Okay. I take it. Okay, so correction. You can reactivate the Galaxy attack. What you do is you hold down the trigger and then let go. Galaxy. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and you can also interrupt it. Galaxy. Cool. Okay. Ouch. Ow. Getting my fingers in here as an adult, getting my fingers in there, that hurts. To get it to pull apart. Oh, come on. Ah. Maybe if I turn them sideways. Oh, okay. Ow, that didn't help. Oh, shut up. Through the magic of editing, I think at this point I've just kind of cut the parts where I was combining and recombining things. So you guys have probably already figured out by now, but I'm just now learning that the Galaxy special attack sounds exactly the same regardless of which weapon it's in. So. It is a little loud. Right. I think I'll just default to Q-Slasher because, hey, it's the Red Ranger's weapon. Cool. Not bad. I like it. Yeah, kind of everybody wishes that this was a little bigger, a little more prominent, just a little longer. You know, can you give it a few more inches? Maybe if it like came out of the handle. You know, maybe if they weren't busy putting two triggers on it. Like you can trigger with your ring or with your little finger, can't you? No. How often does that happen? Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I wish it was a little longer. Oh, by the way, customized weapon. So what would you want to call this? Kyurenoh. I have no idea. It's a two-handed. Yeah. Wasn't the Rekka Daizento used for like in feudal Japan? Wasn't that giant sword used for like beheading horses or something like that? I don't know, like on the battlefield. I don't even. So, yeah. I thought you could try. It's an interesting choice to make these rectangular rather than squares. It's an odd choice. Actually cuts off some of the options. I can imagine that if Bandai America decides to adapt KyuRanger for whatever incarnation of power ripoff they do these days, you know, they might allow you to put it in whatever direction you want to. But for whatever reason, they chose to have you put it in only one way. The flip side of that coin being, gosh, you know, why do they allow you to put it on any direction you want to? Shouldn't they just have it set one direction and then leave it alone? Gosh, Bandai and Toei, why can't you guys be consistent? So this is a two-sided coin with this argument. It would be nice, but I don't see anything wrong with the way they have it set up. Maybe it's not worth complaining about after all. I don't know. I was kind of hoping I could do this. Kind of a... Oh, I know. Turn it into a rifle of some kind. I don't know. Like a weapon, like a blaster with a... What do they call it? A bayonet. Like this could be like a bayonet rifle or something. Hey, if the Eliminator TS7 can do it, then surely the Queso weapon could do it. Look up the Eliminator TS7. I think that's where my love for multi-mode weapons in Power Rangers and Super Sentai came from. God, I wanted an Eliminator TS7. Ah. Oh, you can't attach this like this. You can only do it sideways. Why? That isn't even a weapon. Darn. Okay, no excuse. You know, this would have been an... Let me try that again. This would have been an interesting weapon. Like, I don't know what it is, but it looks kind of neat. They could have let you do that. Or, what's this? Maybe this is like a two-handed axe. Like, instead of a single, like a tomahawk, this would be like a battle axe with, you know, a two-handed, you know, long handle on it, or a long shaft on it, or something like that. They could have done that. But, I'm not majorly disappointed. This is pretty cool. I like this. And for me, as an adult collector, my hand fits relatively comfortably, which is rare in and of itself when it comes to Super Sentai. I don't think a kid would be able to dual wield. Like, I don't see that happening. But that being said, this is pretty nice. Speaking of dual wield, I wonder why they didn't do something like this. I mean, now that I think about it, here's another alternative. You could have had two weapons. Just extend the length of this a little more. That would have been interesting, a two-handed weapon. Didn't they do that in Mystic Knights of Kyurenoh or something? Kyurenoh? Which I never watched. But it was kind of hard to avoid back in those late 90s when it was on. Q's a weapon. I like it. I am satisfied. I'm still trying to get this out of the box. I'm still a little concerned that the Kyurenoh is a bit of a block former. Like, I don't want it to be, but it kind of is. Here's something you don't see every day. They actually had this one wrapped around it. That's funny. And this is one of the few Super Sentai lead or first hero combiners that doesn't have any weapons. It doesn't have any detachable weapons. Like, yeah, these things are the weapons. So it's kind of KyuRanger, every single limb swap mecha ever kind of thing, where every limb has a different function to it. So it is that. But I'm talking more about when it's just a robot by itself and you don't take swapping into account. There's the chameleon Voyager? It's just a thing. I hesitate to turn this around so that it curls across the top, because I kind of like the idea of having the tail curl under. And then a lot of people might not recall it is a chameleon, so technically it does have a tongue on it. By the way, this is the second Super Sentai chameleon, if I remember correctly. The first one was Rin chameleon was the first one, I want to say. It's not much of a tongue, but it kind of gets the point across. There's another one where they wrapped it around. Which kind of concerns me because it might wreck up the dorsal fin on here. Undoubtedly made of PVC, so it's in which case it's going to bend. And if it isn't made of PVC, I'll be surprised. Yeah, it's made of PVC. This is the second, second spearfish ever. Kajuki yellow. No, it's Kajuki Waija. It's a thing. And there goes the sun. Nice while it lasted. It was hot yesterday. Yeah. Driving all over Alderwood or Linwood and Everett yesterday. Ugh. Hot. Didn't get cool until like 9 p.m. when the sun finally went down. And the weird thing is, it was only 67, 68 yesterday. I'm like, ugh. In Bubba Con, when I was over there yesterday, they were showing the special edition of Empire Strikes Back. Ugh. The special editions never needed to happen. And don't get me wrong, there were like 2 or 3 things out of all the special editions that were actually good. I was glad that they added, but the rest of it was just, you're just undoing and replacing all the hard work you did 20 years earlier, you know? Why? 25 years earlier, whenever it was. That was the point of the special editions. Oh, we need to prepare ourselves for the HD revolution. Whatever. It's the Ushi Boyja. Is the mouth open? Oh, it does. Huh. Kind of like that it's... Okay, yeah, I kind of like that it's a mono eye. I don't know why it is that so many bulls and oxen, they always have mono eye. When it comes to giant robots, why? Anybody explain that to me, please? I don't get that. It looks neat at first, but then you realize it's actually a tricycle. In which case you go, huh? Kind of ruins the moment, you know? Like this is supposed to be the muscle of the 5, and yet for whatever reason it's a tricycle. I don't get that. I do like the tread detail though, that's really nice. For some reason I thought that the Ushi Voyager would be attached in this fashion, but it doesn't. It only attaches this way. Well, if that's the case, I guess I'll put it like... Oh wait, no, you have to do it this way. Oh, yeah. And the horns are PVC, no surprise there. Oh, the head can turn. Oh, I guess it would have to in order to be a hand. Why do the horns turn? They only turn a maximum of 90 and they softly ratchet to every 45. You know, it's still a better ox than the Ushi origami. You know, that thing was just a dud as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is more amusing. This actually does more in this mode than that one did in its own, you know, beast mode or whatever. Huh. Speaking of one-sided paint applications, this joint here has been painted, well, kind of, it's been labeled, but on this side it's not. There's red trim around the rims of these wheels, but there's not on this one. Red trim, no red trim. It's kind of strange. It was fun in the KyuRanger, DecaRanger, Gavin crossover. They totally played up that Garu was Donkey Kruger's brother. It was weird, it was funny, and it made no sense whatsoever. I mean, I think it was just the writers acknowledging, yeah, they're both blue wolves, or blue dogs if you must. But it was a cute joke. It was harmless, so, yeah. I think it would have been odd if they hadn't pointed it out. For me, is this turn? No. For me, it's strange to have Okami Boija, because since 2007, I am part of an intergaming group known as Clan Okami. So, you know, Okami Boija kind of rolls off the tongue for me. Oddly, it's not red. Here it is again with the asymmetrical paint design. It's on here. This cap is painted red, but then this one isn't. The way this was put together, you would think that these front legs would be able to rotate, but they don't. And if that's the case, why would you have this thing pointing out the back here? Of all the blue wolves, or wolves period, that we've seen over the years, I guess they have been, well, no, we've had a couple of silver wolves, but of at least the two blue wolves that Super Sentai's had, at least two. There might be more that I'm totally blanking on at the moment. This one's pretty lame. I mean, the front half is fine. It's just kind of this mess back here. It's like, don't know if I can swallow that one or not. Turns. Does the mouth open? Yes, it does. The mouth opens. Ratchets to 2 positions. The jaw was painted blue. All the blue that you see on here, except for the Kyutama, all of the blue is painted on. They did exactly the same thing with the jaw. It was molded, presumably it was molded in the gray, and then for whatever reason they just painted the entire jaw rather than mold it in a blue plastic. I guess they thought it was cheaper. They wouldn't have to worry about it. Like they molded in green, they molded in yellow. They molded in black, but there's also some black paint apps. The head is molded in silver and then they painted on the black. Fair enough. And then for another red lion. This makes what, the 10th or 12th red lion that Super Sentai's given us? You know, the sad thing about it is it isn't even a lion. It's just kind of a block that just so happens to have the head of a lion. But Ava, obviously it's a lion. Come on, man. What's wrong with you? It's a lion. Come on. And you know what's really cool about it is even... Oh my gosh, does he? Okay, it would have been neat if the little dart launchers, if you'd been able to fold the claw, or shift the claws upwards and there's missile launchers underneath, that would have been neat. But alas, it's just this is not a lion. It's just kind of a thing that flattens itself and then the head turns around and that's it. I mean, the transformation, they even, oh look Ava, there's a transformation step. No, this is not a transformation step. This is landing gear, is what this is. That's the relevance of that. I don't count this. Hell, you could be forgiven for even forgetting that it moves. You could just say, oh, well, it flies around like this all the time because it's landing gear. Well, no, actually, it's got this. And see, it's got little feet on there. Those feet look awful, by the way. They don't even look like feet. They look like landing skids. And technically, these are feet as well. So if that's the case, what are these huge red chunks here? Gotta be honest, not one of my favorite red lions. There's been a couple that have been good. This is not one of them. And where's his tail, by the way? And it does kind of look like a half-finished robot that's just laying flat. And if these and these are the feet, then what is this? You know? Why can't these be the giant paws? And here's an idea. Why not have these feet fold downwards? You know? And then have these, have the thigh section, have them fold downwards, and then have like little claws on the back here, have these fold downwards. Then it'll be an actual lion. But Ava, it's a flying lion. You know? It's supposed to have wings on it. Really, where are the wings? Because I don't see them. Well, right there, for example. No, that's a spoiler. That's not a wing. And by the way, if it's a rocket, then where are the rocket engines? Well, obviously they're right there, Ava. No, yeah, this doesn't transform. It just stands up, and that's it. And oh, by the way, the mouth does open, but it doesn't open in beast mode because the mouth has the robot head in it. Actually, it's a nice head, doesn't it? What's interesting to me, I can't get my fingers in there to close the mouth or to close the faceplate. So the only way you can close it is to turn the head. And then, when it's in beast mode, when you should be able to open the mouth, you can't open it. It won't let you. So this isn't exactly the Dragon Caesar. It's not, which one was that? Geki. Which one was that? There was a tiger. Yeah, I guess it would have been Geki Tiger, where inside the mouth there's an extra panel that folds down that has the face on it. This is not like that. The mouth is the faceplate. So, meh. And the reason this doesn't have a bunch of folding limbs is because it has, and transformation to it, is because it has to accommodate these little lights, these LED lights that are hidden all over the place for the, get this, unifying gimmick, which is, you know, they could have done all these, like the limb swapping and whatever, and had this actually transform without the lights. Don't get me wrong, the lights are neat, but that being said, every time they try to put an electronic or mechanized gimmick into these things, you end up with a transformation that's no more significant than that. That's it. And you end up with little excusable pieces of shit at the end right there. Needless to say, this is going to end up being my least favorite Voyager of the 5 here. So how do I get that battery? Oh god, how am I supposed to get that out of there? Whew. I'm going to need a different screwdriver for this one. But before I do that, what the hell? They taped the, which one is it? The Shishi Kyutama in here. They taped it in. Or is it Leo Kyutama? I think it's Shishi. Why did they tape it in there? What's up with the tape? Honestly, Bandai, what's going on here? What do you need tape for? That's just weird. Also, I find it ironic that the Shishi Kyutama is the only one where you stored it separately, but all the others, they're already attached. You couldn't just, like, store this in here like that and call it good? By the way. Yeah, there's your completed Shishi Voyager. Woo fucking who. There was actually a short time there where I was debating whether to... This is neat, and the Seiza Blaster is neat. But it started getting to the point where I was questioning whether I was going to get these or not. I was looking at Ryuteo, and I just kind of... contrary to what my previous videos said, of course. It's not that I dislike Kyurenoh, it's just I kind of dislike the fact that it's so blocky. I'm not offended by the fact that it's a Scramble City combiner. Like, that does not bother me. It doesn't. The fact that it's promoted so heavily on here, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is it's a blocky transformation. They have a neat gimmick in here. I actually like the gimmick. This actually, I'll get to it when I combine it. Guess what? It's time to combine. To be fair, the molded surface details are quite nice. I will give it that. Panel detail there, long here, on the inside of each of the Kyurenoh docks. There's really nice deco here. So some nice deco on the back here. Some radiator fin thingamajigs right there. Yeah, I didn't think that add-on thing. I'm gonna get some batteries. I'll be right back. Okay. This almost didn't happen because I couldn't find the screwdriver I was looking for. 3 AAA batteries. What do they think I am? Made out of money or something? On-off switch is down here. Speaker is back here. Fire in the hole. Activation button is up here. That's a lot of generic sound effects for one mode. I wonder if it's smart enough to know the difference. If it's a smart toy. Alright, let's put them all together. So they only snap in place by the Kyurenohs. They don't snap in by the actual Voyager. Voyager? This one actually doesn't transform. You just attach it as is. So let's see if it recognizes that it's actually been combined. Alright. Guess you gotta hold it down.
Kyurenoh! Go!
Okay. So it operates just like the Queso weapon. Almost said Seiza Blaster. I keep wanting to say Seiza Blaster. So the Queso weapon, in order to switch between the different sound effects, like you can press this button rapid fire as much as you want to, but it won't change. You have to hold it down, and then it'll switch. Which I already demonstrated. Kyurenoh operates exactly the same way. If you tap it quickly, it stays in one mode. If you hold it down, now it's in Kyurenoh. Now, I'm going to say it right now, there's also a third activity mode. It's kind of a Simon Says game that you can play with this, but since I can't exactly read Japanese, I don't know how to play it. I'd have to go online to figure out how it works. So I mean, so I'm not going to go over the third mode, which I think it's where they say go.
Go!
It's this one. I have no idea what's happening right now.
Go!
What am I supposed to do? I don't get it.
Go! Poison!
Alright, so let's get into actual Kyurenoh mode.
Kyurenoh!
Okay, here we go.
Kyurenoh!
I should totally make that the thumbnail for the video. Is that stomping knee-high boots, I'm guessing?
Super Galaxy!
Which is a thing.
Kyurenoh! Super! Kyurenoh!
You know, as Super Sentai Robos go, I actually like that it's got giant colored, whether they're colored or not. I like that it has giant spheres that light up. I like that it has giant kind of energy spheres, very Gundam 00 kind of feeling coming off of this. So yeah, I don't mind that aesthetic. That's an aesthetic that I can live with, that I like. And the fact that they're surrounded by, each one's surrounded by the metal frame and it has a little belt thingy on each one of them, that doesn't bother me. That's fine. So aesthetically, I don't mind. How it transforms, the fact that so much space is taken up by a single gimmick, that's an issue. But aesthetically, I don't mind. They ratchet every 45 degrees all the way around. Very off-center, I'd like to point out. Like the joint is down, let's see. The joint is down here, but you kind of want it to rotate a little higher up. So that's kind of an issue. And do these turn? No, they don't, because the claws get in the way. At least on Chameleon it does. You can't turn it vertical. Why not? Well, that's kind of dumb. Gee, if only that claw wasn't there, it could fold away or something, like maybe have it push in, or have it fold onto the back, or fold onto the side, or anything. Give us some kind of transformation. Surely that's just a molded-in aesthetic. They could easily have molded around somewhere else. Moved it or anything. See, how bad is this? Can this turn? No, it cannot turn. Disappointed! You know, the thing that bugs me, let's see, maybe I can work with it. Hang on. Okay, so it won't snap if you turn it 45, or it won't snap if you turn it in. Oh, kind of. No, it won't. They won't let you turn it sideways, because in the show, oh, solve the problem right there. In the show, this is the sword. You know, every Super Sentai Robo has its sword, or in some cases, three-part nunchuck or whatever it is. This is the sword, if you can believe that, for this mode, for Kyurenoh. That's, you know, I mean, each one of these has its own attack feature, so it's like Gowick or us all over again, whatever. But this is supposed to be the sword, so if you turn this 90 degrees ahead of time, you can get the Kaji Voyager to turn to this angle. But in order to do that, oh god, now it won't turn again. So I guess it's a spear attack, I guess. I don't know, how fuzzy is that? I can't tell. Gosh, I wish I had a camcorder or something that had a screen on one side so I could see how close things are. I have to guess where they are all the time. Okay, so you can turn them sideways, but it doesn't like it. So, and there it is. But yes, it is. By the way, I'd like to point out the battery's been on this whole time.
Super Galaxy!
interesting. The battery has been on this entire time, and it hasn't given you any little beeps or blips or anything like that to let you know it's still on. It'd be kind of nice if it did. Oh, before I forget. Yikes. Okay, come on, get out. Thank you. Get out of there, jeez. Please turn? No. Oh, that reminds me. Technically, this is a mode that only appeared in the first episode.
Kyurenoh!
I guess you could pretend these are like rocket engines or something like that when they glow like that. But yeah, this happened in episode 1. What do they call it? Quest? No, it's not Quest. It's whatever they call episodes these days in Super Sentai. This happened. And then these guys just so happen to show up and complete the docking, so... Anyways.
Kyurenoh!
So this is what's generously known as the alternate mode, and I'd like to point out, it's ironic, Super Sentai Robos of the last, how long? Gosh, almost 10 years. How long has it been since KyuRanger came out? Was it 2008? Something like that? 2000... Might have been 2007, because KyuRanger came out 2006. What came right after that? I think it was KyuRanger came out right after that. So anyways... the Super Sentai Robos have had, they usually don't have an ankle tilt joint attached to them. Instead, the foot is angled, or the sole of the foot is angled, so that it's always flat. On this design, they don't do that. And I can prove it to you by showing you the back and showing you that Chameleon Voyager, let's see, I gotta make sure this is lined up properly and out of focus as possible. Chameleon Voyager is angled downwards like this. It's not angled inwards, but it's angled downwards. And the same thing with the Kajiki Voyager. And the same thing with the Okami Voyager as well. That's an issue. So, that means it has a very small footprint. Well, actually, it does have a very small footprint. Kajiki Voyager and the Chameleon Voyager, very, very small footprint. Is this going to tip over? If you put enough pressure on the Kajiki Voyager, leaning it backwards, it will snap. But it's solid enough; it won't be much of a problem. I wouldn't advise keeping the Kajiki as a foot for very much. Just something up here is saying don't do that very often, or at least don't burden it by doing anything other than this. If you're going to go for Ryutei Kyurenoh, I wouldn't advise. Actually, I don't think it's used as. Oh, I think it's used as an arm or one of those over-the-shoulder cannons. I think it's used as that. So I was saying it earlier. Oh no, I said it already. It's been several minutes now, and it hasn't beeped or blurped or anything since I combined it and since I did the announcement thing. So you leave that battery on. Make sure you turn it off. And in terms of attack features, well, you've got opening mouths and rotating heads. So I guess that's an attack feature. I'm getting some Kakuri Daishogun action here. Or Kakure Daishogun. But I guess that works. If it does have any handheld weapons, or if there are going to be any handheld weapons, I don't see how Okami can hold on to it. And I seriously doubt that Ushi or Agami would be able to hold anything either. So I doubt there's going to be anything handheld for these. I know there's a third robot that was relatively recently appeared in, what was the, what's that annual toy fair they got, like early summer or whatever it is, or like late spring, early summer that they do in Japan. Is it Shizuka, whatever it is? I forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. We saw the third KyuRanger robot there. I don't know what it's called, but it has something to do with a phoenix. It was actually announced several months ago, but I failed to make a third commentary video on it. So I've seen it, but I don't remember enough of it to like make a commentary video now. So we know there's a third one on the way, but it's kind of disappointing in the fact that none of the Voyagers, and like none of them are used in the final ultimate combined form. It's not even a it's not even a combined form. You just use the Kyutamas. Those are the only things you use on the combined form. As I understand it, that's how it works. So you don't even use any of the other Voyagers. That's more than a little disappointing, depressing, and frustrating as hell, because, you know, they've got this great little limb swap Scramble City thing happening, and the final combining robo, if it's the final combining robo, I don't know. I don't think they've announced yet. If it's the third final combining robo, doggone it, they changed it already. I mean, this is the thing they've been doing since, maybe Shinkenger, where, you know, they come up with this really interesting gimmick for the first combining robot, and then everything after that is completely different. Or the final big carrier mecha does something completely different that is incompatible with anything that came before. You know, so the Mogyu Diode, for example. Like, yeah, it had hidden discs on it, and it interacted with them, but it couldn't do the helmet thing that was very well established. So yeah, this is a frustrating time, and I hesitate to. Technically, yes, this is a block former. Technically, I don't want it to be because the gimmick is nice, and I don't want it to be because it looks pretty. But technically, yes, this is a block former. Now, granted, not as bad as what happened. Was it last year? Yeah, last year with what were they called? I've actually started blocking out what the show was called out of my mind. What was it called? KyuRanger. It's not as literal blocky as it was in KyuRanger. I don't think we'll ever get any more blocky than that. So it kind of seems like a parody of the issue that Super Sentai has.
Kyurenoh!
This is actually the first time since I unboxed this I've listened to it from behind, and is it loud? You know, every time I hear that voice, I automatically think to myself, set your GP base! Is it too loud? It's kind of right on the edge of too loud. Bandai Plex, you need to turn the volume down. It's like right on the edge of that. With the Kyuza weapon, it was not so bad. It was not so bad. Like, yeah, it was loud, but it was not, Like it's more like the pitch, not necessarily the volume is loud. So when it reaches the crescendo of the slashing sounds, it'll go, and then it's kind of, oh, okay. But it's not nearly as bad as the Karakuri Hengen from Ninja. That was pretty damn bad. That was loud. That was obnoxiously loud. Is this loud? No, it's borderline loud. But can't say I'm disappointed at this point. Again, I'm disappointed from a block former perspective. Oh, something I forgot to mention. There's that. I'm double checking, hang on. There's a little oddity that the internet has noticed, and it's kind of hard to avoid. It's one of those cannot unsee things. When we initially saw production photos before the release of the toys, before the reviews started coming out, we thought that it was just kind of, okay, it's the angle of the studio lights, it's the angle of the camera, just caught it in just such a way. As it turned out, that was not true at all. I pointed out with the Ushi Voyager, I pointed out the red rims on one side, or the red lining on the rims that were not on the third tractor tread on the back. You couldn't see them on the back. Well, it turns out it extends into all of them to a degree. Well, I think. Let's see. All of these 5 Voyagers, I keep wanting to default to Voyager. Why am I talking in English? The 5 Voyagers all have kind of a slightly asymmetrical paint job. On the Ushi Voyager, there's there's this white colored rim paint thing on this side, which is not repeated on the other side. Whatever. You've got yellow on the left side of the Okami Voyager, but then there's no yellow on the other side. On the Chameleon, one of the nostrils, I guess you call it a nostril, one of the nostrils is painted orange, kind of like a tattoo, but there's a screw head on the other side. On the Kajiki, see his yellow stripes on the main fin? There's no stripes on the other side. And then, here's where it gets really bizarre. On the Shishi Voyager, you've got an extra red stripe here. Let's see, I don't know. God, I wish I could see what I'm shooting at. You have an extra red stripe here that is not here, but then you've got a brown stripe on the inside. A brown stripe along the inner thigh, huh? You've got a brown stripe on this side that is silver over here. Intentional asymmetric paint applications. Now, I can understand you have no paint applications on the back. That goes back to, at least back to KyuRanger, which was back in '92. Okay, so it goes all the way back to that. That's understandable. And this paint application is here strictly because it comes on the top of the Shishi Voyager. Okay, so whatever. That's an accidental, or I'm sorry, that's an incidental paint application that ends up on the back. The back of the head doesn't receive any paint application. So we've seen that before. You never even bring that up. It's frustrating at times. Yeah, I kind of wish there was some detail painted here, and I wish the side of the legs were painted, you know. That argument can be made, but as Super Sentai fans, you just kind of go with it. There's nothing you can do about it unless you like to customize your mecha. But that being said, it is a rather peculiar. See, I mean, there's a one paint application here that's not over here. This one's brown. Why'd they choose brown? I guess it's supposed to be rusty. Or maybe it used to be red, and now it's, I don't know, oxidized. it's painted over here, but it's not painted over here. There's a molded stripe, and these stripes are not just painted on the kachuki, it's actually molded, it's a molded detail, and then they put paint across the top of the mold, because there isn't an identical mold of those stripes on the other side. This tattoo on the, I'm calling it tattoo, I don't know, what's this little nostril tattoo thingy is not present on this side. Considering this is a space Sentai series, I wonder if they were trying to invoke Star Wars somehow, like rusted, faded, nose artwork. I don't want to say pin-up artwork necessarily, that's not what it is. But are they trying to like summon Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Serenity and Firefly, where it's has a used, hasn't, you know, is not factory fresh kind of look? Are they trying to go for that by doing these intentional asymmetrical paintings? I can't say with certainty. It is peculiar, and it's also not it's not the same. It's also not the same thing as saying, well, you know, you've got this color on this side, this color on this side, because it's a limb. That's a different color, or it's a completely different limb. Like this should not be green because it's a swordfish. It's always yellow. This should not be yellow because chameleons are yellow. I don't want to go there. Who hasn't heard of a blue wolf, and who has? And I'm sure there are plenty of black bulls and oxen around the planet. You know, it's not that. It's just, let's keep shifting that. It's just for whatever reason they went with an asymmetrical paint on each of the individual Voyagers. And, you know, very obviously here. Why they did that, I don't know. It's strange, and it's something to look for, and it's also cannot unsee. Typical complaints. Could they have put a waist joint in there? Probably not. Well, they could have. They could have gone to like 45 degrees each direction. Could they put a hip joint in there? Probably not. Technically, this is an elbow joint that turns in this direction, but technically you can't do it unless you pull it out and turn it around manually first. Don't think of this as a sword, just because you're going to be disappointed even more than you were with Juo King's sword, lest we not bring that up ever again. So, I mean, don't think of this as a sword. Think of it more like a dagger or something like that. In the show, it's exaggerated anyways, so whatever. You want to deal with a sword, just get a Kyuzo weapon. It's much more satisfying. Speaking of satisfying, yes, I am satisfied. So, for my 200th video on my channel, this is AV Unit 4A saying, thanks for tuning in.